We are live.
I got to deal with this shit already, Dave.
In the Anacostia Arts Center in historic Anacostia, Southeast Washington, D.C. And this is the Neighborish live cast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Super Dave, a.k.a.
Super.
And with me, as always, the two of the dopest individuals in the world. Starting with our feminine energy.
Yeah.
The personal trainer and fitness guru, Miss Fruit Fit herself.
Fruit Fit.
Patrice
Good
Jones.
morning, good morning.
Good morning, how are you? And the one and only DC's native son,
Hey.
the SE3 representative,
Hey.
just dropped a video on
Hey.
YouTube.
Yep.
What's it called, Jay?
The calm.
The Calm. And it's pretty dope. I gotta give it to you, it's pretty dope. I was looking at it, and I was looking for reasons to hate. No, I was glad. No, it's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know you make good music all the time. I really like it. Jason,
Hey.
welcome, sir.
Thank you,
It's
brother.
always good to have you in the building. And we have an awesome show today.
Yeah.
Because we have a great guest today. So, the pregnancy and childbirthing process is one of the most beautiful, uplifting, and awe-inspiring, while also being one of the most terrifying, anxiety-inducing, and often physically painful journeys that a woman can embark on. All in the name of bringing life into the world. As a doula, today's guest has the extremely important responsibility of providing mental, physical, and emotional support to women going through any and all of these and a plethora of other circumstances that may arise. Ladies and gentlemen, Erin Clark is with us, and we're so glad to have her here.
Hello, hello.
You got that good radio with you. Like that. Yeah, so I'm so interested to talk about that, just because that whole, I don't have any kids, so that whole process is so fascinating to me. Yes, I'm working on it under the table right now, if you're not playing. But there's the patented J exhale, ladies and gentlemen. My goal is to get him to do it 4 times a day. We're going to see. We're going to see y'all count. That's one. But,
It all depends on your jokes. It's not me.
But we're going to get into all of that.
Marcus says hello, Dave.
Hey, what up, Mark?
Yeah, you used to live next door to you.
Oh, what up, Marcus? What up? Yeah, hey. I was like, a lot of people I didn't know who.
That's why I specified.
He didn't remember you, Marcus. He didn't know who you were.
But I know when he said next door, I knew who he was talking about. But anyway, we're going to get into all of that with you. But first, there's a lot of things going on in the city and the country and the world that we need to talk about. And
What's going on, Dave?
today we're going to talk about it. And I don't know why I looked at you for you to say it and you had already said it. Anyway, but so on a serious note, we want to dedicate today's show to the memory of young Davon McNeal, the 11-year-old young man who was murdered on Cedar Street, the street directly behind the street that Jay's son and I stay on. And, just sending prayers of strength and emotional support to his family and all those around at the time. We got to stop this violence out of it, man. It's something that we have been talking about, and I'm going to talk about some more today because, these conversations hopefully will incite action that actually has some change happen. So yeah, that's other. Well, I don't want to say I want to say other than that. But how was you guys' week? Did you guys have an okay week?
Yeah, prior to the 4th.
Yeah, right.
So shit, man, I'm all over the place.
Okay.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
How about y'all?
today.
Yeah, I'm all over the place.
I had a great week. I had a phenomenal week.
Oh, phenomenal.
And my birthday is tomorrow. So
Hey,
turn out.
turn out.
I don't have no cake right here, no cupcakes, and y'all.
Oh, wow.
Well, your birthday is tomorrow. We was gonna surprise you, but now since you said that, we're not gonna do it. We decided. No, I don't know. But we got you. Don't worry.
No, I had a great week.
That's good. That's good.
I am training in spite of.
Right. So we know you came in with
Crutches.
today. You want to elaborate a little bit for your fans who are watching? Who are like, oh my
Well,
goodness.
nobody knows except for like 2 people that are close to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to keep it?
No, well, they'll see tomorrow,
Oops.
but I'm on crutches. I was doing sprints uphill, and I tore my calf muscle.
Mm.
It like popped. But I've been on crutches before. I actually crutched a 5K for somebody's money.
And see, I was about to say, that she said they'll see tomorrow because you're gonna be back out there tomorrow, ain't you?
Yeah, well, it's my birthday. I ain't staying in the house.
See,
Nice.
so dedicated, and so So 'cause I hope you don't do some more. Cause you might have to stay off of it a little bit though.
I mean, that's why I bought the crutches.
Oh, okay.
So I crutch and I stay off my right leg
That's a
and
good
I
point.
stand on my
I
left.
think she just made it
But
fat.
I still do abs, I still do upper body, I still do glute work.
Oh, yeah.
I still work out.
Love it.
If I break it down, that's an excuse for me not to do no. But anyway, as you can see. But anyway, so let's talk about some of this stuff popping in the news. I want to talk. So Jay, I want to talk a little bit about because you're a music dude. He's like, no, don't come to me. I'm not in the mood. Can I get your music opinion about something?
Yes, I'm sorry, Dave. I told you I gave you the disclaimer.
Yeah, no, I know. So but I'm still asking. I'm gonna get.
I'm holding it together. I'm trying to
I
smile and
appreciate
be
you too.
jovial and shit, but
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
raging storm brewing inside.
Right, and it's a place you can, you know, if you want to go ham.
No need to go ham.
Okay.
I don't need
I
pork.
think you said free flow when the mic going to get your emotions.
It's called freestyle, but that's a good idea.
Free flow.
It's nothing wrong with free flow.
There is something wrong. The fucking term is freestyle. There is something wrong with free flow.
Like you just look like a chair.
Hey, man, you gonna let me talk about me like that? Alright.
But yeah, but
What do you
so I was
talking
going to
about?
ask you about August Alsina
Mm-hmm.
and Jada Pinkett, and the reason I'm bringing this up from a music standpoint is that hold on one second, let me check my levels too.
Stop sitting there.
That it can't be heard.
Well, I've never heard August Alsina's music.
Yeah, me neither. But no, it's more of a specific music question. I'm trying to
Or
figure out
Jada Pinkett.
why my audio is not doing what it needs to.
She had like a rock band. Yeah. She had like a hard, like metal. It's like a metal band.
This is like before acting or like?
Jada Pinkett have you?
Yeah. She did. I think she did Afro punk before.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I forgot somebody on my Google Jada Pinkett's band so we could.
Please do.
Yeah, y'all talk about this real quick while I get this.
Yeah, but yeah, Jada Pinkett definitely had a.
Oh, there it is. I see what's going on there.
I just want to say that Dave didn't ask me how my week was.
I was about to ask you.
No,
Nah, you were already on the
You moved
subject.
on to Jada and August.
Okay.
Their tour love affair.
Don't
I'll tell you if you want to
assume
know.
that I wasn't asking you.
Well, I won't assume, Dave, but I'll tell you about that.
How was your week, man?
Thank you, Jason. You are so caring.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
so much. I had a very aggressive but a very wonderful week.
In what way?
So I have a very large garden in my backyard,
Mm-hmm.
and the deer attacked my potato leaves this week. And
Your deer attacked
attacked.
or ate?
No, it was attacked. It was an attack. There was a forceful attack. There was one deer in the backyard that was like, oh, look at me. Whole time there was another deer on the side yard that was eating the potato leaves. Didn't even see it.
So was one purposely distracting you?
Listen,
So the
he was-
other one?
You got it. There was one deer that was doing nothing. He was just kind of walking around like,
That's an
look at me.
attack. That's
It was
an
an attack. Exactly. Thank you. I know an attack must be an attack.
Okay.
And then the other deer, it was bigger and like it ate so many potato leaves, and then it was.
So what do you have in your garden?
I have lots of things. I have carrots, radishes, squash.
She brought some stuff that I didn't want.
I did. Jason was like, I don't want
Don't
it.
stop it. She might have wanted it before you said that.
Only because I have all that stuff in my garden. It's hard to use it all. I didn't want to. Someone could actually use it when I have all that stuff in my garden already.
And I brought like one thing of kale and I had beans.
Wicked Wisdom. Thank you, Marcus. That's Jada Pinkett's band, Wicked Wisdom.
Oh, somebody actually knew. Oh, Marcus, you know?
This nigga probably Googled because.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, Marcus, did you know that? And if so, why? Please reply. All right.
While Marcus was
Yeah,
doing
please
that,
reply.
Yeah.
I had a good week because I got to see my grandma this week.
Yeah.
So I got to go like
Your mom's mom or your dad's
my
mom?
dad's mom. Actually.
Okay.
So my grandma turned 94 yesterday.
Wow.
So shout out
Thanks.
to her.
Ooh.
Yeah, so she, we got to all go to her senior living, assisted living residence and go see them. It's a sad thing what COVID has done to like being able to visit like older people. Like they're just stuck in there. They can't like leave their rooms a lot of times.
Wow.
Yeah, so
So did you guys get to go inside?
we did not get to go inside. They brought her out. They brought her out and we like had like there was like a porch and she was on the porch and we were like at the bottom of the porch and we got to like walk up the steps and talk to her and wave and that's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, that was
It's
Okay,
good.
so I just got the audio. Brady did some funky stuff on there. So can we just start over and say everything that we said again one more time? We can't go back to y'all don't remember? Y'all can't?
Whatever you need to.
So,
Okay. But no. Anyway.
y'all see what I'm dealing with?
No, because I'm going to just take the audio from your stream and put it in the
Oh,
first
okay.
like I do
So
all the time.
we really didn't have audio the whole time.
Yeah. Well, on the
Thank God for Jason.
Well, thank God for the people who, hit me and let me know what was going on.
Yes,
He did a whole show.
No bull.
And then I'd have been like, we just going to put
That's
up that
true.
one.
So thank everybody involved.
Shout out to all the folks.
For saving our show.
For saving the, but no, it's good. We'll put it all together. That's how I do it. It's patchwork. Yeah. So shout out to everybody who reached out. But the reason, so let me get back to now that we.
Hold on. Was Erin finished?
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay.
She
Dave.
I heard her conclude.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I was paying attention.
In conclusion, yes.
There you go. Thank you
hold
so
on,
much.
Dave. Miriam says Wicked Wisdom had one good song.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
If she can name that song,
She did.
We'll
Hold
send her a 25-cent gift card from.
Well, your 25-cent gift card is coming.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's called Bleed Over Me.
Oh, that sounds interesting, Jada. Okay.
Yeah.
But the
okay,
reason
Jada. In
The
August.
reason I brought it up is because it's interesting that all this stuff came out. Apparently, they've been, having whatever they've been having for a while now. But all this stuff came out to coincide with the release of an album.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens to be an album that, from what I'm hearing, contains 28 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
People don't make 28-track albums anymore for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
And so in trying to publicize the album, they're saying that a lot of this is happening. And people do things like they're saying Kanye announced his presidency because he got an album coming out and things like that. You think that's an effective marketing tool these days?
Absolutely.
And I think it's because of the age of ratchet TV. Like, how people like Cardi B or different artists promote by being, on these shows and things like that. So you have to sensationalize. And it's not just being there and being like, hi, I'm this. They got to fight. They got to cuss each other out and, set traps and all kind of crazy. So
Well,
not that I watch these shows.
Well,
but
sadly, Cardi B is very talented.
okay.
Just like all the other rappers in the game,
Right.
75-80% of them, they suck lyrically and content, but they're extremely talented people. It's just, they've been indoctrinated with, quote unquote, what works and what will sell and what will generate revenue.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are
Controversy.
Yeah, so
tends to
those are
generate.
definitely marketing techniques that have proven to be effective. So yeah,
Right.
the Kanye joint, the August Alsina joint. Like I said, I've never heard any of his music, and I'm not even intrigued to hear any of his music, even with this controversy. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm not interested in your music. But I'm sure a lot of people will be.
They will be, yeah. And I mean, and the thing about it, like what you said, I think you kind of actually hit on something because I have heard some of his music, and to me, it sounds very similar to a lot of the stuff, and not taking anything away from him because I've heard songs I've been like, oh, that's kind of dope.
You just
but
said you never heard any of his music.
I didn't say that. I said I never heard any of Jada's music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I've heard August Alsina before.
Okay.
But like one or two tracks, and I've heard stuff, and I've been like, okay, it's like it was one that kind of stuff. I think one of the singles that he put out that I was like, oh, okay, he's pretty. But for the most part, it was pretty similar to a lot of stuff. So like you said, when everybody's kind of on that level, you got to do something to stand out, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of talented people out there. But I don't know if either of you followed the story of what's been going on. Do you have an opinion, or would you like to share?
I definitely want to see. I definitely would want to watch the Red Table Talk now. Like that market.
Yeah, she said she's gonna.
Yeah, that's gonna pop.
And people didn't think about that, but she's also
gonna
getting,
benefit from this.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
And
Everybody
she just looked like an OG in the midst of all of this. It's like, it's like I don't think this damages her.
No, in no way.
No.
No.
Only because she's such a G.
Like I've already seen people attacking him. Like, boy, shut up and play your part.
Bro, I was like, boy, would you shut up?
What are you doing? Like these guys don't know. I mean, all in the name of getting your album out there.
Ruining the game for us all. Damn.
Yeah.
What's the game? What's the game? What's the game? What's the game?
Well, like if here we go.
Here we go.
I want to know what the game is. You said he ruined the game for y'all all. So what is that?
Well, so the thing is, when you are a young man and you get propositioned by a elder queen
Fine, queen.
Yeah, and to be fair, Jada, I don't know her, but she seems to be well rounded.
Mentally,
she seems
strong.
to have some spiritual stability, understanding of, the concept of how to maneuver in this dimension, in this culture, in this society. So I'm sure she probably helped him in other ways.
Exactly.
And one thing led to, what I'm saying? But it's like if you are granted a relationship like that, under the I'm sure there was like some guidelines like, yo, let's try to keep this between us. And and it's like, so when your album is about to come out, you just throw all of that to the side. That's the game is integrity with an agreement between two people. So that's the game.
Secret society, all we ask is trust.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Dave, for the rap lyrics.
Yeah.
But and especially if what he's saying has some level of truth to it. Like if he approached them both, he got consent from Will, and what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you gonna.
For the record, they're both categorically denying that any of this happened.
Heard that, and again, I don't know or care
right
what's going on, but for the sake of our show and conversation, the banter, and for your question, that
what is the game? Yeah,
that's the game. Is a union that stays between the people involved in the union,
right. And also that has the potential to positively influence your life in a bunch of different ways, and so and I think that's that is a factor that is prevalent in this situation just because of where she is and where he is and how he's, like kind of trying to, he has a good fan base, but, just being connected to that empire, that Will and Jada empire, they're American royalty to a certain extent, like a lot of celebrities who get to their stature are. And I mean, to be connected in some way to that gives them a certain level of credibility and a certain level of notability that I don't think he would have had. And if this isn't like a ploy for publicity, if he's really coming out and kind of making that whole thing topple, it's not a good look on his. But I mean, he's a younger dude, so he doesn't really, and when you younger, you think you so in love. It's like I'll do anything.
Yeah, and
for love. We mess up some serious
fair,
stuff.
man. Joe Claire, shout out to
man.
Cleezy.
Joe went.
That was so funny. I saw that.
But
Ryan,
it's
dog.
something to that. It's something about Baltimore women, bro. There really is. And,
go look at Joe's Instagram. If y'all haven't seen.
I mean, I think Joe Claire, like he's married to a woman from Baltimore.
He knew.
And I've dated women from Baltimore, and Joe's right. So I would say go check out Joe Claire's page in regards to August Alsina and Jada Pinkett in regards to having relationships with women from Baltimore.
Cleezy is hilarious.
I stand with you, Cleezy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and stop listening to stupid ass celebrities news. Terry Crews has been tweeting some interesting things this week and getting some backlash about the tweet. So earlier this year, he tweeted that white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy and equality is the truth. And as if that wasn't, he caught some flack for it, but I guess not enough for him, because then he doubled down on it earlier this week when he tweeted and said, if you're a child of God, you are my brother and sister. I have family of every race, creed, and ideology. We must ensure that Black Lives Matter doesn't morph into Black Lives Better.
If you would have just stopped.
Who wants to take this? You got it, Erin?
Yes, I would love to hear Erin's opinion on this.
I'll warm it up for you. How about that?
That's what she said.
I'll titillate it for you. No problem.
Right, okay.
If he would have just stopped, right there, child of God, this is so great, so wonderful. We're all people. What?
Yeah.
Don't let Black Lives Matter turn into...
Become what? No, sir. If it did, hooray. But what are we talking about? What are we talking about right now? What, Terry, no one asked you. Go back and sit down. Go, Jay.
Yeah. And I think, isn't he married to a Caucasian lady?
Nah, she just real light skinned.
Oh, okay.
But he has a whole
But I mean, he's white.
It's so funny.
He's a white man.
He's a
and
white
so,
he's a white woman.
People stop being mad at people like Terry Crews and people like whoever. Like, there's no need to get emotionally involved. It's like and to be fair, it's tough to break out of the indoctrination of America. You know, if we from birth are indoctrinated with a certain ideal system, a belief system, certain principles that have been spoon-fed to us, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and you know, this is the result of that. Like, he's a white supremacist, as are the brothers that killed the 11-year-old boy.
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
white supremacists.
exactly,
It's like, so there are black people that have the, you know, I heard a term, I think it was Franz Fanon,
Franz Ferdinand?
no, Franz Fanon.
Fanon, okay.
He's a writer, Dave.
Oh, okay. No, I was just, okay.
It's and I'm paraphrasing,
I'll
but it's
take that.
basically like chocolate covered white people.
Yeah.
And it's not
That's
like
dope,
an
yeah.
attack. It's like that's how the design is.
Mhm.
So when you break the mold, it's like, oh, you're radical or you're like rocking the boat. It's like, no, I'm just finding my path to God within me. And that scares white supremacist ideology and mentality. So if you believe in yourself and you be like, no, I don't need your religion, I don't need your whatever it is.
It starts
It's
to
like,
make
hey,
you
you're-
look, radical.
And so it's like, so you'll have people defending the
insanely.
like Terry Crews, and so
And-
it's not his fault. It's not that he's like, oh, this bad person. He's just not strong enough to dig within
Right.
himself to find God.
And it's interesting that you use the term not strong enough, because D.L. Hughley tweeted right after that and was like, I told y'all about this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he was talking about all them muscles and you can't fight, you know. And so it's interesting that you would use that. I agree with everything to the extent of it not being his fault, like regardless of how strong you are. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if I'm that strong, but I know the limits that I will take myself to. And maybe he doesn't know that. Let me ask this question, and any of you guys can take it. Do you think, looking at people like him and things that people like Lil Wayne have said and different people, and not saying that we should be, garnering any wisdom from them or anything, but do you think that making it to a certain level of success makes you more susceptible to the indoctrination or to looking at?
Yeah, because you're rewarded.
Right.
You're
Right.
rewarded for being a bitch. That's just how America goes.
Yeah.
And it's like Malcolm says it. Like, if this country is rewarding you and showering you with love and awards, there's something wrong.
It's like, and I said it the last show, it's like we disagree on a couple of things, but it's certain things that you say that I'll be like, I'm gonna rock with this nigga to the end. I don't care.
Almost got him, y'all. He's almost on the team. Almost got
And
him.
so another thing I want to
Yeah.
say, so to Jay's point and to what you're saying, that we always talk about this. There's a certain level of healing that has to take place, and that's even in every ordinary Joe Blow. Not if you're a celebrity. And so just think, if the healing never took place, in reference to Terry Crews, he's been through a whole lot. I've heard some of his story.
Yeah.
Abuse, etc.
He has.
So he really is a boy in a man's body who has not yet healed, and he has this certain level of clout and financial clout, etc. And now he's being rewarded, but he has not yet healed. So he's being rewarded for the thought processes and the methodologies that he's developed over the years that have provided a band-aid but not a total healing process.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
erroneous.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Erroneous.
Come on.
Yeah.
What,
That was a $6 word
where,
right
where'd
there.
she go, Dave?
I
I
don't-
read.
Oh, what kind
I
of
read.
Oh, I went to Trinity.
Trinity.
I know some people that go to Trinity.
I went there for like 2 years, but no.
But shouldn't we expect more from black actors? Like, so I grew up in the 80s where, like, if a black person was on Wheel of Fortune, we would all, like, call your friends, oh, this is my own Wheel of Fortune. But, like, when you get, black actors on TV, it's like you want to root for the black actors. But it's like,
Ooh.
but
I have something for that.
I know you do.
Sue me, I'm rooting
But-
for everybody that's black.
Issa not rooting for him no more.
I'm
Like, it's not
Yeah.
happening.
I'm not
Yeah.
rooting for most black people.
Yeah, and I was gonna say no, it's not
Because
because
they're white supremacists.
it's known,
They're
and it's
chocolate-covered white
known
people.
by the powers that be that that's the mentality. And so
Yeah.
when somebody gets there and starts talking that stuff, they feel like it's gonna kind of break down your defenses and be like, well, if he said it, maybe I should start thinking
But
about.
you know what's interesting about
What's up?
what everybody's saying? Like Wood Harris has this interview when Vlad from Vlad TV interviewed him, and he was talking about like when he at first he didn't know Idris was from Britain, and you know, he worked on a whole bunch of like sets with
because he did
actors from Britain, and
what
he
was
was
it?
like, and it was controversial because he
The
was
Wire,
like,
right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Wire.
yeah,
They were on the
yeah,
Wire
yeah.
together. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But he was like, it seems as though the black actors are better. And you know, as a black actor in America, I'm like, nigga, what do you mean? But then he was like, we know, and as a black person in Europe recognizes the African presence in their culture. So he was like, when their children, they're studying about the Moors and how their relationship to Spain, and you know what I'm saying. And he was like, they start with Shakespeare in theater at like 5, 6 years old, because you know they still see statues of black people that helped found Europe, and you know, so they're not looking at, oh, we come from slaves. They're looking at like, oh, we're in this predicament now, but this is our history. This is we created medicine, we created mathematics, we taught these white people how to walk and how to bathe themselves. So they have that understanding in their culture, in their history classes. Whereas though when you come to our history classes, you open our book, we start walking off slaves.
Yeah.
Right,
And he
right,
was like,
right.
and he was like, from an acting perspective, he was like, that integrity when a black person is on a stage representing is just internally better,
Stronger, yeah.
based on what they've learned about their understanding of themselves.
Who they
Right.
are.
They
right.
walked
And
it.
so when we
Oh
look at
my
our
God.
black celebrities in America, we can probably count on one hand who really fucking makes sense,
Yeah.
and who
yeah.
we would consider quote unquote leadership.
Oh, okay.
per se.
Leadership as opposed
And
to.
I don't even know if I could name 5, to be honest. Like, I don't really admire or anyone.
Dave Chappelle.
But should we be looking to
Dave
them for
Chappelle.
leadership?
Yeah.
Salute to Dave. Yes, but you know, after that, it's like, nigga.
Yeah, that's why I was like, should we be looking to them for leadership? Like,
Yes.
you know, we talked about
Yes, we should,
Okay.
because the platform.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the platform that these people have, and they're given this platform because they're safe. But it's like, yeah, we got a spook who
That's a
sat
good
by the
word,
door.
safe. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know, so I mean, if we want to change how things are, we're going to have higher expectations of not even just actors, but everybody. Because I used to have this dream, and Malcolm X would come to me. He'd be like, yo, whenever you get in front of a microphone, go hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, I don't. Yeah, it's like, you know, I used to have it, and it was a consistent joint. It wasn't like a one-time joint. It was like over and over. Like, whenever a microphone is put in front of your face, go hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you do anything else, I'll be disappointed in you. Like, fuck. All right.
Malcolm
So-
said that too. You can't
Yeah,
disappoint
absolutely.
Malcolm.
I've had super vivid dreams from like certain people. Well, I had this dream the first week. I know I'm going on. Fuck
Go
it.
ahead, man. Go
I told you I'm all over the place today.
Go.
nigga.
We with you too. Look, we all like.
I know, right? So when
Continue.
the week I moved to LA, right? So I moved to LA, and I hadn't started my job yet, and I just had this dream, right? I had this dream, and I woke up from the dream, but I woke up I was in the dream, but I woke up, and like Pac was right there, right? And I was like, oh shit, it's fucking Pac, right? But it's like I wasn't starstruck because the nigga looked frustrated. Like he was sweating and he was like smoking a cigarette and shit. And I'm like, nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you? But he was like, yo, nigga, it's war, nigga. Like you gotta get ready. Like it's war, nigga. Like shit ain't sweet. And you know, I'm like, oh, I get to meet Pac. I thought it was gonna be great. We hit a J and like freestyle and shit. But this nigga was like, this nigga was frantic. He was like, yo, nigga, we got shit to do. He was like, you about to write these songs, nigga. You better put in work, nigga. Then he was just gone. And I'm like, damn, that's, you know,
That's what
all
you
my
get.
life I thought I was going to meet Pac. That shit was going to be great. And this nigga just came. It was like, nigga was sweating, smoking a cigarette, looked mad frantic. I was
Put
like,
this work
shit.
in, and he was out. He's like, that's all I had to say to
Right,
you.
and then I'm out. So
We
it's
can,
like,
we can hang out when you finish.
so it's like, so with these visions that I have, and then I look at celebrities or athletes or politicians or community leaders who have platforms and microphones in front of them, and they ain't
And waste it. Yeah.
It's just like, yo, I always go back to those two visions. Like, yo, they would be so disappointed in you. So
That's why they need you, man.
well,
Okay. Well,
No, but you
a lot.
know,
Go ahead,
but
Chief.
you know, to the platform, they bring the programming. So you can't be programmed all your life and then given a microphone and you're gonna be straight for your people and
You're right.
support
You're right.
and for the
Great point.
movement.
Great
So
point.
when they are given the mic, they bring the programming with them.
right, yeah, you're
And
right.
it's gonna sound the same.
Yeah.
yeah, that's so true.
Because even with I've heard I was contacted a lot yesterday via text and call, and a lot of the conversations were surrounding what can we do in regards to losing Day, like right in back of my house. And it's like even the conversations were so sad because everybody's emotional and sad, but no one has any direction. And I guess the most saddening thing is that I don't even think people's mindsets can accept the real direction necessary to change the conditions. It's like people just emotional saying this and saying this and saying that, but aren't really willing to change things.
Yeah.
Because it takes work. Like even it was a group of brothers from Cedar, like the OGs from Cedar, had hit me up. It was like, yeah, Jay, we want to do this for the community, and we'll do this. What do you think? And I was quiet the whole conversation, and they were like, so what you think, Jay? And I was like, we should meet and discuss a plan of action.
Okay.
And even that was too much. So I'm like, wow. It's like, well, if we can't meet, you know what I'm saying? Like all your emotion is
For naught.
It's symbolism.
It's like you can't put a stop sign up without a meeting. You can't open up a lemonade stand without a meet. Like you can't do anything if you can't even meet.
Come
discuss.
together and
like those deer met was like,
Listen,
nigga, you go distractor. Them potato plants is up. Like they had to. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't do anything if you can't.
I forgot all
meet.
about the deer. Honestly,
Yeah,
I was
it's
like, what
like-
deer is he? Okay.
Like it's impossible to come up with anything if you can't meet.
That speaks to some of the most powerful groups. I.e. the Black Panthers. The first number one step in business in order is to sit down and meet and strategize.
Right.
You have to strategize, and you can't do it. Everybody wants to strategize. And I want to cuss so bad, but everybody wants to strategize.
I got
on
the parental
social
advisory
media. No, everybody
On
wants to
social media.
strategize on social media
Yeah,
and go
yeah.
back and forth in comments.
Right.
That's
That
not
was my point. I was
strategizing.
like, yo, we need to meet.
And
Right.
Simple. I didn't say nothing else. Like, yo, we should just meet.
Right.
And doesn't it feel like
And
the
it broke
social
down
media
right there.
stuff doesn't it feel disingenuous because it's such like a like to a certain extent it's a great way to bring people together, but when people when it's a situation like that where everybody's on there talking about this and talking about that, but then when it's time for action they're like, oh well I said something, I posted this great comment the other day, and it's like, okay, but I mean the action is necessary.
People love to repost.
Yeah.
So like if today you put out a post saying we're gonna have a protest on Tuesday, people repost it and show up, but you don't have anybody that is like the leader of that. You don't have the organization and like in a lot of these groups.
No, sis, go ahead.
So a
have
lot
it.
of the issue is that you have all these people have all these great ideas, but you don't have anybody that's willing to say let's meet. Let's organize. Change is radical.
Yeah,
When we started off with the riots, I was sitting in the house like this. Here we go. Now we're going. Now we're doing something. Like change is a radical idea, and it takes a lot of reprogramming of a lot of things to change. Like you got an 11-year-old boy that was murdered. Like
Right. Yeah.
and everybody standing around going, this is so sad. Oh man, this is
That's
tough.
why those conversations yesterday were breaking my heart.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's sad, but now, it's
Now
like,
what? Now let's make
like,
a
it's just
change.
talk.
What we gonna do?
It's like, yo.
Let's talk about Stone Mountain. That's what.
Yeah.
That's the type of leadership. My girlfriend lives in Stone Mountain, and she
I used to
called
live
me
down
the night
there, too.
before.
Stone Mountain, North
And
Carolina. That's what
Georgia?
I mean.
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Where the black guys with the guns? Or,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Like
I saw that.
Yeah. What they
Everybody
call themselves?
sharing-
The coalition of.
We done with this dumb shit? What they
It was something deep. If anybody know what it is, hit us up. But yeah,
but my point is everybody's sharing and adding music to it and making it sound good. But when it comes down to it, like, I don't know. I know you know the young man personally, Jay. So I don't want to put too much out, like say the wrong thing. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if something happened to my son, and especially in the neighborhood, I give it 48 hours. Foot to pavement. Everybody in my circle that knows me, we knocking on doors. We gonna find out. We gonna yada yada yada. And I think that's what you mean. Like we gotta meet and strategize. Cause you sit down, you meet and strategize. Somebody knows somebody that knows something that knows something that knows something, and then you guys will get to the core. But if we're not moving, like I'm talking about,
not even willing to move
on foot, and we're not willing to move, and we're not willing to strategize and sit down and share energies in the same space and share commentary and strategize, then we're going to be next month. It's going to be another child, and it's going to be another prayers with your family, or tomorrow. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I just lost one of my students either early this year or last. He was 13.
Yeah, I remember.
And I know him personally, taught him. Like, and it's like, damn, 13, 11. The young boy in Atlanta got killed.
Yeah, the young girl, 7 years old.
7, 8, Chicago.
Chicago,
like, It's like, yo. Yeah.
What do we?
It's disheartening. It makes you frustrated. It, really
it does, and that frustration has to.
So Paul. You know Paul. Paul says
he's like, sure I do. All right, man, Paul, go way back.
Hold up.
We do actually.
Oh, okay.
We went to UDC together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Paul.
Who would be the leadership of that change?
Jason.
First of all, black people have gotten black people have gotten so used to relying on everyone else to do it for them. So it's like we sit and we wait. Have you ever been to Africa? Like Africa's a big continent, but have you ever been to Africa? They have their own bus system. Like when people wouldn't do it for them, they did it for themselves, and that's the thing we lack as American like black people. We wait for other people to do it for us. Like someone in our community is murdered. The first thing we do is we go, well, what are the police gonna do about it? Nah, sis, what you gonna do about it? Like, what are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to sacrifice to see change in your community? Like, you're waiting on, the mayor to defund the police. You're waiting for the mayor to, push more in education. Keep your kids at home and teach them at home. Like, what's the problem? Yeah. Like, if you really want to see, like, change, you have to be willing to sacrifice some things to yourself to make sure change happens.
Yeah, it's so true. That's true.
But that's
facts.
That's radical change.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's logical change.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like the radical association with like, yo, it's
because
like,
it gives it a almost impossible connotation.
It gives it, like, when you say radical, it gives a little like negative tinge of like, nah, it's just logic. Like, if you want something to be different, you have to do something different.
Listen.
And it's like, all of these meetings and all of these things and conversations that I was a part of, and not to be disrespectful to nobody's efforts, but in regards to like change, it's a bunch of bullshit, man. And to no one's fault. We just haven't been given the information and the blueprint. Well, we actually have, man. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with niggas. To be honest, like we've been given blueprints. Like Garvey told us what to do. Malcolm told us what to do. Asada told us what to do. Jesus told us what to do. You know what I'm saying? We got instructions. It's like
people don't want to do it. Or they scared, or do you think it's fear, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, because like, when you buck, they gonna come at you. But it's like, I guess my thing is around like niggas so tough. Like, I'll bust a nigga head. It's like, it's like when we fighting for our own survival, our own progress, our own blessings, our own joy, our own peace. We the biggest bitches on the planet. Yeah. But it's like when it comes to a nigga that step on your shoe or call you something, a verbal, it's like, yo, I'm gonna take this nigga off the earth, nigga. I'm a goon. I go hard. But it's like, all right, they murdering our children now. Doesn't that call for some goon-esque
activity.
But so do you think
even
that's
thoughts?
but-
Even thoughts.
But so do you think that mentality is manufactured? Because it's not like
What mentality?
the mentality of I'm the hardest dude out here and I take anybody out. Somebody, in a situation where they need to be that, they're nowhere to be found.
Well, you said a lot.
They say that it's that mentality is manufactured because it's more like it's something that we're like you talk about the music, you talk about what we see and how people are raised now by media, by TV, by music, as opposed to because a lot of parents aren't where they should be or doing a lot of it's the men being out of the household is a huge thing. That was something Patrice had posted something I was telling you about the Dr. Umar interview. That I wanted to touch on a little bit. But I mean, all these factors that lead to a situation where the value that you spoke of that Will Harris was talking about that he sees in the English actors isn't there, and it's been somewhat stripped, right, like from us. So it's like we're left with nothing to value but like valueless things, and so it becomes a situation where when there's time for something of value to be done, nobody's there to step up.
Well, I don't even know, man, because
it's frustrating, right? Like I feel it. Like,
well, I guess the thing is, man. So I've been for the past couple months. I've been studying the Synoptic Gospels, right? So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And Jesus kept saying, like, "Yo, my Father sent y'all." It was a constant. I forget the dude he kept saying, but he was like, "Yo, God has sent y'all so many people before me. Y'all didn't see them." Like, it ain't like y'all been in this position without no help. He was like, we sent y'all so much shit so often. Like, y'all just was so preoccupied with something you didn't see. I can't remember the actual. It was one dude he kept saying. I can't remember the prophet's name. But Jesus himself was like, yo, like, it's not me. Like, right. So many other people have been sent to help and guide and assist. Y'all just so fucking preoccupied with whatever the fuck it is you're doing. Yeah, I'm sure he was talking like this. Yeah, like people got a misconstrued idea of how a man could go in these poor ass communities and galvanize people, and you think this nigga meek and soft and turn the other cheek when you can go into like hoods like Berry Farms and Surf Quarters and wherever the fuck and get people to believe in you and follow you. You think a nigga is some soft meek ass. You know what I'm saying? But he was saying like, yo, I've sent so many people to kind of help our predicament. And it's like, now I'm here and y'all about to fuck me over. Yeah. So it's like it would make a leadership figure or someone that could present help and change and a guideline to follow. Maybe not the answers, but a guideline to follow that. Once a snowball effect starts to get going, that idea affiliated with the support of the people in the community could turn into the change. So all that to say, there is leadership in our communities. There is leadership. You know what I'm saying? It's just that leadership is not supported or it's overlooked because what the change requires takes work. And it takes subjective personal change in individuals, and people don't be willing to put in that work. So we'll just go year after year, murder after murder, death after death, march after march, protest after, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, shut the fuck up.
Hold on. So to your point, here's another reason why I think we don't take leadership seriously that's in a community. And there's a idea of what we think leadership looks like. So to people in the community and just the everyday person, a person in the community isn't a person that's on a TV that has 3 degrees and went to Harvard and is a political is a politician but even some of those grassroots politicians get talked about so badly, and they're on the ground in the community. We have this ideological view of what leadership should look like based off of you know, what we've been taught it should look like. It's like dressed up.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't
yeah,
look pretty
yeah.
and it's not in a suit and it's not in a dress with the hair done and all that, then it's not leadership. If it's not dragging 3 or 4 degrees and accolades and awards, then it's not leadership. And I think it's absolutely the opposite.
That's a
The
flawed
leadership
idea, yeah.
is the person in the community, on the ground, that is organizing. To Jay's point, you know, like he said, you know, Malcolm, all those people told us how to do it. They showed us how to do it. We have so many blueprints. And it's like we're trying to rewrite it based off of new protocols. It's like people always call me old fashioned, and I always say, you know, old fashioned is not such a bad way to be.
No, not at
like
all.
we have everything that we need, but we're looking for so much more based off of new methodologies and new protocols that dangle these, you know,
and
these
aren't even
accolades and
tested,
degrees.
right? Like aren't
Right.
even like as tried and tested as the things that were out there for us. So I don't want to, man. Like these are the type of conversations that we
Man,
should.
you
be
riling me
having.
up, Dave?
Yeah, well, I mean, on purpose too, on purpose, because I mean.
Well, I mean, hold
go
on.
ahead, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So, I ran for mayor of Washington, D.C.
I voted for you.
Did you?
twice.
I
Two
voted both
times?
2006
Google that nigga.
against Adrian Fenty, and 2010 against Vincent Gray. During the 2010 campaign, I encountered Vincent Gray after a debate in the elevator. Right? And he was like, young man, he was like, you have the potential to win. But he was like, people aren't going to take you serious because of how you look. And I was like, Mr. Gray, my intention isn't to win. My intention is to highlight the contradictions that we engulf ourselves in local electoral politics. I was like, I don't really have an intention to win. But he was like, yo, you know, if you kind of like, you know, got
Cleaned it up.
yourself together,
And
he was
you-
like, the
as-
points you're making are good. He was like, you make a
But
lot
they're
of
not
sense.
gonna hear you.
He was like, but
Yeah.
the way you look, no one is going to look to you. But so to the point,
It's true though,
That's
right?
exactly what I'm talking about.
right? But
It shouldn't be, but
I
it's true.
guarantee you, if somehow miraculously something happened and I was elected the mayor of Washington, D.C., right, in 2010, the world would be different now.
Claim it. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be different because,
You should run again. You ain't never gonna.
well, you know, I listened to Mr. Gray in that elevator because I was like, damn, he's the front runner, and he eventually won, but he recognized it, and he was like, he was like, you not bullshitting. He was like, but your approach.
And as
know-
much as he recognized it, he didn't like adopt any of the platform.
Well, I
he
mean,
was
but
trying to-
he can't. They can't. That's the problem
can't,
with where
yeah.
we're at collectively.
That's why I had to be on the
Nobody
elevator.
can do anything.
That's what happened on the elevator. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You was
Exactly.
backstage at the theater, but you was backstage.
Right.
So he caught you backstage, but when he was talking about when y'all are on stage. This
But
is
I
what you need to
still
do.
respect him because
Yeah.
it gave me a sense of accomplishment that he pulled me to the side and told me
Yeah.
that and recognized, you know, because we were in a debate, and so I had time to speak and you know, elaborate and articulate, you know,
yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm there, what
Exactly,
I'm doing.
exactly.
And it's like, oh, this nigga can speak. You know, but the nigga looks crazy though.
I mean, but that not looks crazy, but you look, you know, you don't look like somebody like they believe like
But I can guarantee
Patrice's
the
point.
change that we all claim that we want.
it's not coming from.
And so it just, you know, so all that to say, we have leadership in our communities. Is whether the leadership is supported or not is the question we should be asking ourselves.
That's true. That's true. I feel like Erin doesn't respect Gray.
No.
I just heard
No.
say
But
when he
he's
mentioned
your
her name.
councilman,
He is
ain't
my
he?
councilman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she knows some other stuff
Like,
about him.
even when Yvette was council member, I couldn't stand her either. But
Yeah.
see, Yvette let me walk up a hill in the snow, so I couldn't.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
That's-
It's a long story.
Just sounds
Ward
like-
7. Who's is
Yeah.
he's councilman now?
He sure is. He
Okay.
just
Still in there.
Yo,
Yeah.
we told-
Once you get in, it's hard to, people.
It's not hard. It's just people.
Well-
People. The older people in Ward 7. Like they get used to.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say it's easy to maintain and stay because they're just gonna vote for the name that they know and
they know, and,
instead of like really looking
like
at the politics and the policies and things of that nature.
Man Gray. So the day we were voting, we were all standing in those long, ridiculous lines. Your man Gray came by with his mask. No, did your mask on? I don't remember. He came by shaking everybody's hand. I'm like, it's a pandemic, Gray. What you doing? Not shaking everybody's hand. What are you doing? He was like, yeah, all right. I was like, no, don't touch me. What are you doing?
Purell.
Back up.
It's not all right.
It's not all right, my guy. Please back up. Like I stood here for 10 hours waiting to vote, and I'm not voting for you.
Right. And I just want to say real quick that you also mentioned Adrian Fenty, and shout out to Fenty for now I don't like his political stuff but didn't he marry like.
So you shouting him out for marrying a white woman? Oh, Ray Dave!
Hold on. Listen to the point though. Who was the white woman that he married?
Is he married?
Some Jobs, was it Steve Jobs' wife?
Steve Jobs' wife.
And you give him kudos for that? That's what you're doing?
Marrying Steve Jobs' wife?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what it is? That's what you're giving him props for?
You know how financially stable he
it's
is?
money. You drawn by the money.
Well,
okay.
financially. Well, I'm not personally drawn by the money, but he put himself in a good
shouting
position.
him out, though, for marrying.
Yeah, yes, I am, yes. Yeah.
We see where Dave stands.
Well, I don't know if that necessarily depicts where I stand. I'm just saying he got in a situation where... Yeah, well, I am. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Shout out to.
And see, this is where.
I guess shout out to Adrian Fenty for marrying a white woman.
For the come up. I don't think they're married.
Well, love doesn't have a color. Look, watch this.
Okay.
Anyway,
let's find Dave a rich white woman.
For Patrice to be like,
I ain't gonna say nothing. Hey,
the world has heard what Dave just said.
Yeah. Well, the 7 people that watch it now, but before we descend into chaos. I want to.
Too late.
I know, right? We already.
I want to talk to.
Dipped our toe in already.
Our wonderful guest that came to kick it with us today.
Hi.
You all right?
I'm great.
Good?
I'm great.
Have you been enjoying your experience here today?
I am so excited to be here and not like just be going crazy on the phone. Like, Jason, say this.
Tell that nigga Dave stop being late. But welcome. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
You are. So Jay has talked you up a whole lot. He's talked about how awesome you are and how you do a lot of other things besides just being, and I don't want to say just being, but besides being a doula.
No, I do a lot of things.
But the research that I did was specific to the doula, but can we speak to a little bit of the other hats that you wear?
Sure. I'm a former teacher. I used to teach in DCPS and charter
schools. You ain't at Kelly Miller no more?
I was never at Kelly Miller, but
when you there for
I was there for a summer program.
Okay, I remember I came to talk to you.
You did because you did, man. I have great friends. They come and talk to my kids. I had I was in a art summer thing where I was teaching theater over the summer.
Okay.
So I did that. Yes, I'm a former teacher. Now I teach online. I teach kids in China, adults in Saudi Arabia, Turkey, all over the world. That's in the morning. So after that, once I clock out of that, I'm a doula. I'm also a writer, a director. And yeah.
You said you directed Jay a few times. You had an interesting tale to tell us.
Man.
I have a short story about our friend Jason.
We got plenty of time. I don't care what Jason. No,
Jason is a very you've met Jason.
I've met him a few times.
He's a very passionate. He's a very passionate actor. One day when we were I was not directing this show. Our former teacher was directing the show. And one
Shout
day,
out Professor Amelia Gray,
UDC,
my favorite theater director ever.
Wow.
She believed in me.
She did.
When I didn't.
She did.
Nice.
I will give her that. That's all.
Nice.
About that.
But you take it away from the story. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. You can shout out to Miss Gray. Yeah. All right. So one day we were in a scene and Professor Gray wasn't really giving Jason the direction he required that day. And he kept going over and she kept on saying, "Do it again, Jason. Go deeper. Do it again." And she was like, he kept saying to her, "What do you want me to do?" And she was like, "No. Just do it again. Go deeper." Eventually, Jason lost his cool and he kind of grabbed the mic and was like, "Tell him what to do. I'm Jason, bitches." My name is Jason. It's Jason.
I was so frustrated. I was looking for the rel. Okay, I got it. Go deeper. How? What? Do what?
Specifically.
Just do it over. I'm like, God damn it.
Your man just started yelling his name.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jason, bitches.
That's all you got.
And then he walked away.
He walked away.
This is before Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
sometimes that's all you got. And you give them what you got,
and
and that's what you know.
Left. He was like, I'm done.
And she probably stood up, brother. That's what I mean.
That is the emotion I was looking for.
Knowing her, she probably was trying to tap into some shit.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. A certain level of anger.
She probably got what she wanted.
She probably did.
Because she knew me so well.
Yeah.
And so she knows like when I'm looking for the rest. So that's why I was like, you're fucking with me. Like I knew it. I knew she was.
Jay's son, and from then on for years he would walk
the whole theater department. Like, I'm Jay's son, bitch.
He would walk in the room like, "What's up?"
Like
Jason?
just walking through the campus randomly, like out of windows. I'm Jay's son, bitch.
That's it. That's it right there. That's exactly.
And you'd be like, all right, thanks.
I don't even know these people.
Right.
Hey, nigga.
We heard what you saying.
And I played basketball too, so like during a basketball
make a
game,
shot.
I'm Jay's son, bitch.
That's gonna follow you everywhere. Somebody gonna see you in China one day.
It already died down. So.
No.
Well, other than you.
Well, no, not just me.
For real?
We still talk about
It's a
it.
group of them that's
okay.
keep it alive.
Micah just got pregnant, so we were talking about it the other day.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Okay.
I called Micah to be her doula, and she was like, "Sure, come on." And then I was like, "Jay's son, bitches." She was like, "I agree."
I concur with
You're not
you.
pushing hard enough. Jay's son, bitch.
The baby gonna come out saying that, but
I know.
But yeah, so you do a lot. So do you
a
have something that you that's your favorite that you gravitate toward more?
Being a doula.
Okay.
I think when I was a child, people would always say to me, "Well, what do you want to do when you grow up?" And I always had a list of things that I wanted to do.
Wow.
So I've been a dog groomer before. I've done a lot of things. So I kind of liked that reinvention. Like I like to get to a point. I don't like it, but I usually get to a point in a career where I'm like, that's it.
That's enough.
Okay,
I've
that's
gotten
it.
what I need.
What
from
else?
This.
What else we got? What else we got? And I kind of go back to whatever has been drawing me for years that I've been ignoring it. So
Okay.
becoming a doula was that. I've always been drawn to like pregnant women and just being around them and being in that space with them when they're in labor. So I was like, you know what? This teaching thing is done. I'm gonna go ahead and become a doula.
Cool.
And that's what I've been doing for the last year, and it's been an amazing experience.
That's awesome. That's just studying, like looking up like what a doula is and understanding the minuscule amount of information I know about pregnant, but being around pregnant women and understanding from a societal standpoint all the pressure, all of, like I said, the anxiety, the fear that comes along with it, the pain and different things that women go through that for some women can put them in a very negative place. How necessary and I want to say something more than helpful, but just how necessary that position is, and how great that I always say that it takes a certain type of person to not only notice a need and be like, oh man, people need that, that's messed up, and then go on about their life, but actually say, to notice the need and say, I'm going to step in and fill this need and be that person for people, and especially for women in such a, like I said, such an amazing journey. That's great, and I just want to big you up for that, because that's so awesome that you do that. I want to, shout praises from the rooftops. Did I go too far? Anyway,
No, you didn't, not at all. Please, big up me, because I need it sometimes.
I'm a doula, bitch, but
I'm not gonna do that. It takes an empath to be a person that can like see a need and go for it. Like it takes someone that can like, before you even like come into a space, like you can feel the energy in the room and be like, okay, I need to talk to the dad first and make sure he's okay, because women go through it when they're pregnant, and it's not just the women. And the doula is not just there for the woman. The doula there is there for everyone. So like, I get to know the kids, I get to know the husband, the partner, any
whatever the case may
situation,
be, right.
the mom, the grandma, whoever else is in that room. Like it's my job to get to know everybody and to kind of be the median, in the delivery room, because the delivery room it shows what's going on in your relationship in that room. It's the most stressful time. You got the dad over there trying to protect the woman. You got the woman who's like, do everything for me. It's like you. Period. Everyone needs a doula.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's so like, because there's some things that, as much as men, some men, I feel like, well, I'm gonna say men. Yeah, as much as men really want to help, and in that time you want to be as much as you can. There's some things that we as men, I'm not gonna say we just won't get, but it's harder for us to understand and kind of connect with, that a woman can really step in and be like, so that doula, like, if definitely want to have a doula for my wife and or girlfriend when the time comes.
Okay.
That's
Whatever. Not sound comfortable saying that. I just
scared.
Thank you for pointing that out.
The man was like wife or girlfriend, whichever comes first.
Or both.
Oh,
hey,
You know, I live next door to Dave, so.
Patrice, didn't you hurt your neck, Jay? I gotta cut.
This nigga about to be in trouble.
My phone started ringing immediately. I'm gonna have to cut Jay's mic off. But go ahead.
What you mean, girlfriend, Dave?
Sorry, Dave.
No, it's cool.
It's just jokes.
Yeah. Say it again one more time. No,
it's just jokes. I think a lot of men don't know what to do, and that's the thing. They but see, when I was listening last week when you were talking about how you immersed, like Jason, when he immersed himself in like knowing what to do, where to go, how this works, and I think you wanted to have a home birth, right? Mm-hmm. So like you have to like when your partner slides that book across the table, like says, hey, let's go to the childbirth class, like go. Yeah. That way you know what's going on. That way you're not in the delivery room texting your friends like, hey, we're in the delivery room. Like, this is not the time to text, my guy.
Right.
Like, we're not texting right now. Yeah. Like, without getting into, situations that I've been in, it's like, you have to be very present.
And available.
And just present, like just mentally, physically present for, this woman who was like bringing a child into the world. And just because, and I say this to all my clients, like just because you have a doula it doesn't take the place of the partner. Right. Like I'm not here just to coach and make sure the woman is okay. Like my job is to be the go-between, to comfort her, but my job is to make sure we all in this together. Okay. And you have to educate yourself.
But I don't want to like you said without going to specific. Is there any situations you can talk about where you kind of had to be like, look, y'all get it together?
Yeah. I've saved marriages, and I
said it with pride too. I like that. Oh my God.
Dave will be calling you soon.
Listen,
they got fucked up, Dave.
No, I'm good. My situation is strong and powerful. She the one who told me that the sound wasn't on. So shout out to her
right there.
Yeah.
No, she'll tell you. Like, she'll tell you, oh, you saved our marriage that day. Like, because things get crazy in there. The men don't know what to do. And it's like, they're trying to help, but all you see is them on the phone. So it's like, you're sitting there going, what is he doing? And, when you have somebody who's on your side. He's Googling how to help you. But you don't know that because, you having contractions. Yeah. Like, I've been in a lot of delivery rooms, and I think to your point about the maternal birth rate and how people are dying giving birth, oh my goodness, like I've been in a situation where one of my clients almost died, and it was so scary because it's like 1 second we're good, the next second it's not good, and it's like you land on that call button and it's like, what am I supposed to do? Right. It's like, but see, because and she'll always that person, she'll always say to me, I'm so glad you were there because without you,
that's her calling you now.
That's not her calling me. I feel like turning the ringer off. But she'll tell you like without you in the room, because you have to know what to look for and what not to look for, and like what to react to quickly, and be calm at the whole time.
Right.
Hey, okay, it's like you're bleeding a little bit. Let's just call people in here. Hey, could you come in? We've got a little blood here. Could you just come in? Like
right. As really opposed to being like, Lord Jesus, help us.
My God.
Right.
There's blood everywhere.
Jason, bitch. But,
that is not something that doulas should say.
Please don't.
But no, I think the reality is that Black women are dying. They're dying and it's scary. Like you say, like it's fearful, it's scary, it's frightening to get pregnant because it's like, am I going to make it out alive? Like, are these nurses going to be ridiculously racist towards me when I say?
I just heard the story. This was a story on WTOP, and they were talking about the mortality rate of women in D.C., of pregnant women in D.C. giving birth, and how it's insanely high, and it's part of it is due to implicit bias and racism. Yep. And I'm like, to hear that statistic like said out loud, it's like,
but to be fair, it's in everything.
It's in everything.
Everything.
And so that's what I'm saying. It's such a it's such a eye-opening statistic that tells you you're not safe from it anywhere. There's no place that you can go where it's not there. Go ahead, Patrice.
Let me add this, and you can speak to this, sis.
Go for it.
So when I had my first conversation with my son about sex, when he was like 8. It wasn't about rubbers, condoms. It wasn't about whether or not you should kiss a girl. It wasn't nothing about that. I spoke to him from a spiritual standpoint, for him knowing the importance of the Ankh, and also about home birth and childbirth. Because so what I want to ask you is, like, do you know of any programs, or are there places that start with talking to the children, at whatever age, about, culturally home birth? Because that's essentially, we need to go back to our roots and where it started. We didn't start in westernized medicine in the hospital and getting epidurals. That's not where we started. So, like Jay said, it's in everything. But if we go back to what, where we should be and what we should be doing, then, we change the narrative, and essentially we save our own women's lives.
Yeah, and I know you guys, when we had this conversation when Jennifer was here, you guys kind of spoke to the birthing centers and getting away from the actual hospitals and having more of a free situation. So yeah, go ahead.
That's the good news in the birth world, is that we are going back. Yeah. A lot more people are interested in home births. They're interested in not having epidurals. The more black doulas that we get in the world, the more the more doulas we get. But the more black doulas we get, the more black doulas we get, the more people are encouraged that they can have a unmedicated birth. Like, I have clients now that have switched. Like, we started talking and they were like, "Oh, I think I want an epidural," and now they're like. Because I'll explain to them what happens, like, when you get an epidural, and I'll explain, like, the risks and the rewards and the recovery time, and how if you don't get an epidural, actually you can get up and walk away and be like, I'm good. Like, you recover a lot quicker if you don't have an epidural.
They won't tell you that, though, will
they? They won't tell you that.
Because they charge you for that epidural. They charge you
exactly, which is why they want you to get a C-section, because they charge you for that.
Wow.
So when they walk you in the door and they go, hey, you might need a C-section. What? What are you talking about? I just
see it in your face. You look like you got money.
You got a look on your face and you're like, you need a C-section. Like, actually, I don't. Like, they'll give you your C-section date on your first day of going to the doctor. They'll be like, okay, we're going to schedule you for a section on this day. Whoa, sis, whoa. But back to your question, I actually don't. And that's a great idea. Actually, my goal right now is I have a doula friend of mine, and we are working on starting like a service, like a doula midwifery service, and that would be a great thing where we educate children about home birth and getting back to how birth should look, and how when you get pregnant, it shouldn't be a fearful experience. It should be this is amazing.
Yeah. But you know what, Aaron? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Patrice.
No, go ahead right after. So I just want to say real quick, and it also, because I feel like the way that sex education was taught and the way birthing is taught, even when we go to the doctor. Like, I remember me and my son's father. They gave us the option to do this class, but the class was like one day, and I was like, had we not had a good relationship or understanding, that's not something that puts him into the mix of parenting. Like, it wasn't a 2-person paternal experience. And so I think that to your point, like, what you do being a doula, that involves the entire the relationship, the union, the husband, the wife, the mother, the father. But we've gotten away from that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that could go into a long segue of conversation. But
back to your sex education point. Actually, my doula friend who I want to go in business with, she asked a question on Instagram the other day, and she said, "Who taught you about tampons?" And everybody answered it, and I thought about it, and I was like, actually, the Tampax Corporation taught me about tampons. No lie. They came to our school when we were like in 5th or 6th grade, and they did a presentation about how to insert a tampon, how it works, and ever since then, I had been using tampons for years because the Tampax Corporation came to my school and showed me how to do it. Like,
you talk about that indoctrination.
Chocolate-covered white people.
But that's exactly what it is. It's indoctrination until you learn better and you do better. But it took years
to separate itself.
It took
from
years
that.
for me to learn different, to understand different. How these are chemicals you're putting in your body. This is a different way, sis. but we the reality is that our parents weren't trained to go,
right.
Hey, that corporation, they want you to do this because that's how they make money.
That's how they make.
You don't have to do it. There's another way. Let me show you differently. But see, that's what I feel like our generation is doing for our children. Like, we teaching our children, don't trust that.
We're trying, yeah.
Don't trust that. There's a different way.
Yeah, so we've gotten to a point where we're kind of understanding it's everywhere. Like, I remember finding out from a friend of mine who was a dentist. Her son, we were friends, and she was like, you know why the commercial, like something as small as like the commercial for toothpaste, why they put it on there and curve it at the top. It's no, you just needed that, but they do that so they can sell more toothpaste. It's like it's not. They don't care about They don't care about the person at all, and it's just like I think that was the moment that kind of I was like, nobody cares about me. Outside of the family and stuff, but even somebody else. But anyway, so I'm such a fan of the idea of a doula now, like just researching and also getting an understanding of the difference between you mentioned being the midwife. The term used was midwifery.
Midwifery is like the art of midwifery, but it's
I didn't want to say it wrong. Midwife. But the midwife, and I found out the difference between the two and everything. I did some research, but
did you do some research, Dave?
A little bit. Just for you. I knew you was coming. It was a special day. But that because there's so many women that struggle through that process and don't even know that there's a service out there that can help you. And like you said, being the African American woman being that, it's so much more. It's that level of comfort that's added to it too. So they are out there, y'all. If you're pregnant, get you a good doula. Holla at Erin.
Hey,
we're gonna put all our information up there so y'all can get at it. Jay, we doing a hard out at 12:30. What you saying?
What time is
it? It's 21. So that's why I wanted to
I need to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But I did want to make a point, man.
Yeah, go ahead. We got some time.
With both of my children's birth, my son was like a preemie, so we were in the hospital, and
you're good.
and what we were speaking on earlier, like how the racism that exists, and I don't know 100% factual, but both of my children, like during the pregnancy process, the hospitals told her that something was wrong with her. And that there was potential risk and all of this. And, it was my job as her mate at the time to be like, fuck everything they talking about. Like, we're going to have a healthy child. I don't give a fuck what they say. You know what I'm saying? Because you are you and I am me. And this child is divine and is destined to be here. But I don't, because it was during both pregnancies, the hospitals was like, yo, this is wrong.
Yep.
And this is happening. And, trying to be like the boogeyman.
And,
my job was like, fuck all that. Like, peaceful. Like, no, you fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just take her mind off. Like, don't even allow that.
I was going to say,
don't even allow that to set in. I saw her face when they was telling her, like, oh, no. Fuck what she talking about. Fuck what she talking about. Like, that shit, we going to be fine. Watch. I bet you. Baby, healthy as fuck. Watch.
Put some money on it.
Joking and shit, like, but just to be like, no. Don't let that set in.
And just because
that trickles into the baby.
That speaks
I was like, no, Miss Doctor, don't be.
Right. And so that speaks directly to one, your strength, and one of the reasons that I look up to as much as I do, but also it speaks to the need for the doula, because most dudes would be listening to it like, really, it's gonna hurt and this is gonna happen.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Moms, doulas be like this. Nah, sis.
Yeah.
Nah, we good.
It's like,
nah, we good.
Jay, you're a doula.
There may have been some legitimacy to what they were saying, right? But being an ancient American and being tied to God and being tied to the ancestors and knowing what we possess, it don't matter what the fuck they say. Like, we have more power than anybody on the planet. And so I didn't want her to lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Like, so this is the place where we're coming from. This is the information she's saying to you, but this is us. And so stay strong and we'll be fine. Don't allow that shit to seep into your subconscious thought. And I was like, during the second pregnancy, I was like, yo, are they doing this shit on purpose?
Yes.
To cause stress?
Yes.
Because that stress can cause, problems in the
Complications.
birth and
Yeah.
complications. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, we ain't. I hear you, lady.
Hey,
but
look.
I remember at one point I just pulled her out of the room like, we ain't.
Yep.
Tell me.
And I'll
Like,
convey
tell
it.
me.
Right.
And
Then you had, but also by the second time you had the wherewithal to listen to what she's saying and be like, okay, should I take this seriously?
well,
or
it
not?
was tougher the first time
Right,
because he
because-
was the preemie.
Right,
And
right.
so, and it was our first round.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
both
Yeah,
of us,
yeah,
we
you were kinda
But
novice,
even
yeah.
with that, I still was like, nope, it's gonna be fine. Watch. You know what I'm saying? And
They'll try to scare you to death, and
Yeah,
they'll try to scare you to death into a C-section. That way they can go home early.
right.
Period.
they
Like,
don't have to sit
and
there.
I hate to go into hospitals with it being us versus them, but I have to
Yeah.
arm parents. Like, I have to arm them with, they're gonna say this, they're gonna say that, they're gonna say this. They're gonna walk you in the door and say the baby's tired. You need a C-section. The baby's tired? What do you mean tired? The baby's been the
baby, they're like, I'm chilling.
They've been there for 9 months.
Cable.
I've heard so many times where they walk in and they go, well, you've been in labor for 3 days. The baby's tired. You're tired. We might as well get a C-section. I'm like, but the baby's coming down. We're good. The first, people have to be prepared for birth to take a long time.
Yeah.
First, like your first baby,
But
it's
that's
gonna
like,
take a
even
while.
that is like kind of taken away from us because everything is such instant gratification.
Exactly.
So you
Yeah.
think, and they pitch it to you like if it's taking a long time, it must be something
That's
wrong.
exactly
There
how they
might be
pitch
an issue, and it's like, nah. It's supposed to people like might talk about 26 hours in labor, 23 hours, different people, 48 hours in labor, hours, a week and a half in labor. I don't know, a week and a half, but anyway, that's
Not a
the
week and a
elephant,
half.
ain't it?
We're not gonna do a week and a half.
But
A week and a half's too
but
long.
yeah, but I mean, and like you said, just be prepared for the long haul. Ladies and gentlemen, get yourself a doula. Don't wait. Get it today, so when you get pregnant, you'll already have her retain her
Lock it in,
services,
'cause,
locking in for and just guess the date later. But just get it.
Don't
But no, get yourself a doula.
Be pregnant.
So
Get a doula.
get pregnant first, and then get the doula.
Well, yeah. But
Don't-
actually, I'm taking a course now, a perinatal healthcare worker course from Mama Toto, where I can hook you up with. I can hook you up. I cannot hook you up with conception. I can give you information about from conception into childhood years. So
Okay.
my goal is to be a well-rounded doula.
all over, all around. Yeah, that's knowing every aspect of your craft is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I got there.
That's what
Don't
she
worry.
said. That's
I
what
was
she
working
said.
on it. Anyway.
Gotta know every aspect of your craft.
Right.
Anyway, I'm done.
That's
I'm
what
also
she
a
said,
funny
Joe.
doula, so.
I see. Yeah. The company is there. So if people want to retain your services, the young lady who was on our show said she hasn't contacted you yet because
She
she's
has
been
not.
busy, but she's going to get in touch
Okay,
with you.
well, please do.
But yeah, where can people get in touch with you? Where can they contact
I'm
you? Where can they
on
find you?
Instagram, Doula Doula _EAC, Doula EAC.
Cool. And that's you said
It's also
Instagram?
my email address. That's so Doula EAC. Yeah, it's Doula EAC at gmail.com, and then the Instagram is Doula _EAC.
Okay, and that's where so holler at her if you need doula services, and trust me, if you're pregnant,
And you do.
you do,
You do.
you do. It's so
promise
much,
you.
Yeah.
and so much, like she said, just a calming presence, because they're not going to be that calming presence. They're going to play off of your anxiety to try to, like you said, get you. Because at the end of the day, even a hospital is a business. They try to get
Hospital
your money,
is a business. Not
and
even it is.
Yeah.
Hospital is a business.
It's a
Like
business.
Yeah, because I remember, another thing about the hospital, and I'm not knocking them because I do
Right.
appreciate the support that they
Right.
did give us, but I will say I had to have a strong hand because I remember at one point they wouldn't even let her go outside in the sun,
Yep.
and I was like, and they was like, absolutely not, and I just took her.
But
I was
why?
like, nigga, I don't care what
Stop
you
me,
say.
right,
Like,
right,
we're
yeah.
not
Why?
gonna not go outside, bro. It's like, and she got a window right there, so we could see the courtyard. And it's like, I was like, nah, man. Like, why? Why not let her outside? Like, she been in this room for 4 or 5 days, in the room.
Right,
nah,
right.
bro. I was like, and even she was like, you're just gonna take me out?
Yes.
Yep, here we go.
Is that
Like, I was like, I don't care.
Well,
you know
wait,
what I'm
did
saying?
she want to go out though? Was she?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I
Yes.
was.
But,
You
you know,
made
it
her
was-
get up and go outside. I don't care. if you
Yeah,
said-
I mean, but it was concerning because the doctor came
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
different people that came and like, look, we need you to stay in here, and I'm like,
They trying to influence.
nope, like
It starts to feel like a little like
it's
like
like,
it's something
nah,
else.
bro, we going
You
outside.
gotta always
And I was
ask
like,
why. Well, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't
Yeah,
even
and these
ask.
are the little things that that's a get a doula.
But that's what
ladies
I'm
and
saying.
gentlemen.
So it's like first I recommend a supportive man.
Yeah.
Well,
Accompanied by
Sorry.
by a
Co-sign.
doula.
You can co-sign.
Because
That's
supportive partner, not just a man, but a supportive partner.
Well, no, I'm just saying whoever can, help contribute it to the baby.
Yeah.
Should, ideally be the one, because even she was, going through a lot. She got a baby brewing. So it's like she may not have had the strength to be like, no, and like this, and this, and like taking that firm stand, because she's dealing with pushing a human out of her body. So it's like, so whoever's with you has to have some type of understanding of your protection and your, ability to be comfortable and to feel safe. And you know what I'm saying? And some hospitals may not provide that for the
and just
woman.
real quick, we about to wrap up, but just speaking to like what Patrice was talking about, or what the post that Patrice put up about the separation of the family, and what you're talking about having a strong person with you to kind of provide that. Imagine if it's nobody with you. You know how much they can do to you and put on you. And that's another part of that whole equation that we didn't have a chance to get into, but we will. We're gonna talk about all that next week, Patrice. I promise. So because I want to, because it's such an interesting conversation. But we need to wrap it up. But I do want to ask you real quick the question that I ask all of our guests. If you had an opportunity to speak to a younger version of yourself, let's say a 13-year-old Erin Clark, what would that conversation be like? What type of things would you say to her? Uh-oh.
Not on the playground, sis. Not on the playground.
You know what? I was about to interject and knew it was going to have to do something with sex. And she
was not on the playground.
But I know it.
Sex in there.
I bet you it is after. I bet you it is. I'm not going
to do that to her today on our show.
No one said it was about sex, Jason.
Don't do what on the playground?
Don't have sex with that guy.
See? I told you. I know her, bro. Like,
there's a story. There's a story behind it about innocence and youth. And
I'm just proving my point that I knew whatever it was. Because once you said 13-year-old Erin, I knew sex was coming. I knew it.
First of all, as a teenage mother,
Erin like that.
Well, I mean, it's true.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. All right. Well,
That's why I was just like, ask her, Dave. And then I'll digress.
You know what, Jason? Jason, bitches. Get out of my face. So
that's all right though. But yeah, and so
my mother's watching this.
Yeah,
she was there. She was there.
Yeah, I know. She's tried calling me.
I got a whole daughter. So,
her
name is Saraya. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. And I was going to ask you about that. I don't know why we didn't. Well, we talked about a lot of stuff today. It was so great having you here. Thank you. But look, she tried. Don't help Jay with that. That's Jay's job. But look, it was so great having you here. Your energy is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, get a doula. You need a doula. Holla at Erin. She's a dope doula. She's a funny doula. She's going to do her thing. We're going to wrap it up on behalf of myself.
I got one last story.
See, I'm trying to help you out, and you got to go ahead.
We're going to wrap it up. So, she said she directed me, right? But she didn't say when.
Okay.
So in 2013, I did my first one-man show, right? Mm-hmm. And I was struggling with it. And
I forgot about that.
And so I'm working on it, so like just hammering it out, right? And then John was the director. I wasn't hammering her at 13, but
no, I didn't see it. He keeps taking it to a certain
or 20. He knows.
But anyway, Dave.
I'm just saying. Anyway, go ahead.
I was, John was the director, but John's like all nice and like
he's a good dude,
smiling, like happy and shit. And we was going over rehearsals, and I was rehearsing with John, and I was like, man, this joint ain't coming together like the way I wanted. So I called Erin. I was like, yo, Erin, can you come to this rehearsal, right? And like, cause I'm just going over, it was like the framework of my show. It wasn't, yeah. And I was like, so I did the whole joint for her, and I was like, Erin, what you think? She's like, it sucks. But that's what I needed. So I took that, and like that night, I kind of reworked that whole motherfucking joint. The whole. I was up all night after that shit, and because I knew. But see, the reason I wasn't offended is that I knew it sucked. And John's so nice.
He wouldn't say it.
That's why I'm gonna call Erin and tell her to come to this joint. So I did the whole joint. She was like, "Yeah, it sucks."
It's good to have. Yeah.
And then that shit was bomb.
It was.
That's the honesty you need in the delivery room with you when you're having your baby. Be like, that baby sucks. No, just man.
All right, we're wrapping up now.
Let's wrap
Thank
it up.
y'all for joining the Neighborish live cast. I've been your host, Jason, and on behalf of Fruit Fit, Super Dave, and EAC, we are out of here.